So guys, I just want to talk about the CCTV camera there that I lowered. As I mentioned in the previous video where I cut my hand quite badly, I had to more or less destroy the inside of the garage to gain access to pull the cord through to lower that CCTV camera so I can put the guttering. You see I've got a guttering just above it, so it would actually fit. So guys, I'm doing a bit of a repair here. So I'm cutting some pieces of this insulation foam and slotting it in, and using some Everbuild expanding foam to fill the gaps. But something I want to tell you about is you may have seen me use some landscaping expanding foam, and this is a type that you use in building, and it's a lot cheaper obviously. I just wanted to say it's a lot less pliable and it takes a damn sight longer to set. So before you try and push it into gaps and manipulate the foam, if you're going to use this stuff, you're going to have to give it a lot longer than you would if you were using landscaping foam. So I just wanted to do a little video just to point that out here. So if you're using the yellow foam, give it longer to actually set and firm up before you start pushing it into gaps. So I just wanted to make that point. Something I've discovered recently, because I use the black landscaping foam that's used for building ponds and doing waterfalls and that sort of thing, and I've noticed it sets a lot quicker. It doesn't expand quite as much as the yellow stuff, but it's more pliable and easier to manipulate than this yellow stuff. So I would highly recommend, if you're doing a waterfall or you're using it to set something in place, such as a skimmer into a sleeper pond like I've done, I'd highly recommend, if you're going to use foam, use the black stuff rather than the yellow stuff. If you're forced to use the yellow stuff because you can't get hold of the black stuff, give it a lot longer to set. But I just wanted to tell you about foam, because I've had a lot of experience dealing with expanding foam recently. So there you go. So, those of you who was wondering, this is my filter box, and the idea in the filter box is we're going to put very large rocks in the bottom, and they get smaller as it goes up to the top, and I will put some lava rock in there as well as lots of gravel, and I'll have a mechanical filter system with some sponges at one end. So that will be my filtration system. I may add to that, and that's the good thing with having filter systems, is if you feel it's not quite doing the job, you can add to it. You don't have to get rid of it or build a complete new system. You can always add to it. A lot of you guys have what I would say is backy showers on the side of your pond, and that is a way of supplementing your filtration system. You don't always have to fork out a ton of money, because you can always build a DIY system to supplement your existing filtration system. Right guys, I'm just pumping the water out of the pond, because we've got some in there at the bottom. We need to get rid of some of the stones that have fallen in, get this cleaned out, and I'm going to take this liner out of here, power wash it all down, get it as clean as possible, and then put it back in, and then looking at doing some sort of glue to glue the folds. So yeah, we've got the pump in there, you see that guys, so that's draining the water as we speak. So I just want to go back here and show you the debris netting again. So as you can see, that's how I've put it together. So looking up close, you can see I've stapled it in, and this really is to stop the conifer leaves getting in. So I'm probably reluctantly I'm going to have to think about putting a post up there and putting some debris net in there as well. I know it's not going to stop it all, and that's why we've got this skimmer box here. So the skimmer here will take the majority of this stuff out. So I thought I'd just show you where we're at. Hopefully you find this a bit informative. So yeah, essentially the line is coming out, and when I've got all the water out, we'll pull the liner out and lay it on the grass and give it a good clean. So that's the idea, and hopefully the liner has not been damaged, because there has been a lot of stones that, because of the wind, has been falling into the actual pond, and I just hope we've got no leaks. Anyway, I'll leave it there. We're just waiting for that water to empty. So guys, we've got a nice sunny day today. We're going to sort out the liner for the pond. Now I've got this Quick Prime Plus Firestone for rubber EPDM. It's basically a glue, so I'll be able to glue the folds together. Now some of you guys have said the folds could have a bacteria. However, if we glue the folds, the bacteria has nowhere to go. So I'm going to be utilising this stuff. Anyway, let's get on with it. It's a nice sunny day. It's quite warm. I think it's around 20 degrees. So ideal working temperature. I don't feel cold or the need to put a coat or anything on in these temperatures today. So without further ado, I'm emptying the pond out, and we're going to give it a clean and then put it back in there, and then start doing some gluing and sorting out the liner. Thought I'd just show you how deep the actual pond is. You get a proper look from here with the water taken out, so it gives you an idea on the depth. So yeah, the pump's got most of the water out, just a matter of cleaning this lot out. So I've just pulled the liner out, so let's have a look. What's the damage because of winter? So as you can see, I put some foam at the bottom there to give the pond a bit of insulation, and a lot of this underlay has fallen down. A lot of conifer leaves have got behind the bloody liner. So essentially there's a bit of a clean up job here. I've got to repair that bit of foam that's broken off. Piece has come off there, so I need to re-glue that. And then we've got our tank connectors to think about installing, our returns. So essentially this is how big the pond is, so you get a good idea on the size. So it's not hugely small. It's about 1 metre deep in total, 2.3 metres long by 1.5 metres wide. That's the surface area we've got. If you guys want to put a comment in the comments box and let me know or estimate how much water you think will go in here, and I'll give a prize to the winner when I do eventually fill this pond up. But at a pinch, if you need to get stuff out of these tubes and you don't have an applicator gun, get yourself a hammer, use the handle to push it against your chest with the hammer bit, and it will come out like so. Get a bit out like so. So at a push, if you need to get some of this stuff out, and your applicator gun doesn't fit, or it just you don't have one to hand, you can't get by doing this. Right guys, I've just put the underlay down. Use a bit of masking tape to keep the stuff down because the wind is picking up a bit. So I just wanted to show you the clean up job, as it were. Get all those leaves out. That's the underlay. We've got a bit of foam in the bottom, which has been pressurised by the water pressure, and I've got some offcuts of EPDM liner from the other pond, and I've put those down as well. So there is a lot of liner protection in this pond. So essentially the next job is to put that liner in once I've got it cleaned down. So we're having a hard time dealing with the folds in the liner. It's not so easy to get these folds out, so we're just working our way through, trying to get the liner in place, and it's just taking time to figure out how we're going to fold it in place. I've noticed that a few of you guys out there have used PVC liner. Seems a bit easier to manipulate and put into a curved pond like I've got here. So it's going to take a bit more work, this is. So the pond liner is in. It's not pretty, but it'll do the job. So I've tried to put the folds in convenient places where I can glue the seams together with some firestone primer. This is an EPDM liner, not a PVC liner. It's a lot harder to manipulate on a pond like this than, say, a normal pond in the ground. Over there you can see the cottony coil skimmer, wide mouth one. I am missing a couple of screws for it. If any of you guys out there do have to happen to have a few of them lying around, I'd be more than happy to pay you for them. So you know, leave a comment in the comments box if you do have a few screws from your cottony coil skimmer that you didn't use, because they do send you a few spare ones, but I seem to have misplaced them. So if you do happen to have any, please let me know. So let's just have another look round this side. So I've used felt nails that are galvanised. Ideally you want to be using stainless steel, but I can only use what I've got to hand. So let's just go around here. As you can see, it's not pretty, but that's the best I can do. So the liner's in, and then I just need to get it filled with water, really. Right, I just thought I'd show you the corners, how I've done those. I've just tried to overlap the liner there, and as you can see, the water will push up against it and get rid of some of the folds. So I thought I'd just show you how I'm going to do the returns. So I've just just drawn a circle there where all of them are going to be, and then I'll cut those and we'll silicone it on the inside and put our plates on top. So there we go, it's more or less complete. I've got the liner in, and I have to be absolutely honest with you, hand on heart, out of the entire build, the hardest thing was that pond liner. I didn't want to do it. I knew it'd be a pain in the butt to do it, and I knew I couldn't get it fantastically perfect in there because of the unique design of the pond. Because obviously we've got 2 feet deep in the ground and 2 feet rectangular shape above, and it's a bit hard to marry both together with a standard pond liner. Another way I could have done, I suppose, would get a box liner, cut a hole in the bottom of it, and then get a smaller liner and sort of seam it all the way around. But it would be extremely difficult to seam a irregular shape. It's very difficult to do that, if at all possible. So the odds of getting a leak are very high if you were to do that. So essentially all I've got to do now is get the capping pieces of wood on top. I'm a little bit peeved off at the moment because I don't know how it's happened, but they're too short. I thought I got the right length, but they're a few inch too short. It's a bit annoying, that. So note to self, make sure you measure it and measure it and double measure it. So I'm going to have to get some more wood. It's going to cost me more money again. So the next step will be to put the capping on top, get the filter box put on the back, and put a bit more netting halfway along, just to shield the pond a bit more from the tree, the fern tree that is causing the issues regarding contamination in the pond. So we'll be using some fine netting for that. You've probably seen my last video. I've talked all about that. Debris netting it's called. So if you do have a similar situation where you're getting a lot of contamination in your pond and your skimmer isn't taking it all out and it's sinking down and obviously rotting away, and you need to get in there and clean your pond, I highly recommend getting yourself some debris netting and put it around your pond. That will stop the leaves getting in. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope this was a bit educational. On with the rest of it now. Hi guys, so I'm in the pond doing the liner. Now I've got quite a few folds here to deal with. So I'm going to seal those folds with Quick Prime Plus. It's a primer sealer for Firestone pond liner, EPDM. So this is the EPDM liner, the budget line I've got, which is 0.8 of a millimetre, so it's 20% thinner than 1mm thick, but it's still nevertheless it's thicker than most pond liners, such as you know, the Gordon stuff you can buy. So essentially we're going to be using this stuff to glue these folds together to seal, to give us a good seal, and that will stop muck getting behind. And that's one of the big complaints that a lot of people have when they have folds in their pond liners, is stuff can get in those folds and, you know, generate bad bacteria in your pond. So that's why a lot of people don't want to have folds in their ponds. Unfortunately, I don't have much of a choice in this pond because of the unique shape of it. If it was completely rectangular, square, I wouldn't have all these folds. But because there's this little bit I've dug out here, like a traditional pond, obviously I can't solve that problem. So we're going to seal those folds up, so let's get to it. So we're just sealing the folds. So I just lift that up and put some glue underneath. So I'm just sealing the liner with this adhesive so that the liner will stick to each other. Obviously, and it does take, I don't know, I'd say about 3 minutes for it to start becoming sticky and pliable. So you do have plenty of time to put loads on. So put loads on if you want to seal your folds. So I've got a 1 litre tin here and I've pretty much done the majority of it. Just a matter of give it a good seal, put plenty on, don't be worried about putting too much on. Right guys, I thought I would show you how to put a tank connector on. The flange connector. I've done the video on this already, so you know, check my channel out if you want to see that. But essentially I want to show you how to put one on. There's 2 ways of doing it. You can put the silicone behind on the actual connector itself, then put some around the top piece, and then obviously put your screws in. You know, some people said you can do both to double up, and that's probably a good idea. But what I'm doing is I'm just putting a dab on the screws on the top piece, and then we'll silicone on the inside. Because I can't see what I'm doing properly, I'm going to put a ton of silicone on all the way around. Oh, you can't put too much silicone on, to be honest with you, so just put loads on. Okay, so we've got tons of silicone on. Now, what I've done is I've put a faint line there, so I know where the screw is. So you get a cotton coy flange connector, and you just try and figure out where that screw is. Guys, finally found the screw holes. They can be quite of a challenge to find. So what I recommend is you use a drill just to get it part of the way, and then use a regular screwdriver so you don't risk damaging it, and then just tighten it away hand tight. Hi guys, just before I finish, I'll just tell you about a major problem I've just discovered. Is the flange connector there on the right that I'm pointing at. The screws are dodgy. The sockets for screwing into the flange connector, well, I can't screw. So I'm a bit unsure what to do. Obviously I've siliconed it, but the screws are not going in and tightening it. So at the moment I don't know what to do, so let me know in the comments what you think I should do. It's a bit of a bummer this, because I don't know how to rectify it, because it means me an absolute headache of pulling the pipe out, reforming, putting a new piece of pipe in, getting a new flange connector. My god, this is going to cause me a massive headache. So let me know what you would do. So yeah, it's that one there on the right, which I'm having a problem with. So I'll get on with the other one there that I'm going to put in, and we'll have that finished before the sun goes completely. So guys, I thought I'd show you what I've done. I've just connected the flange connector there, another one here, made a right mess of it. The main reason for that is the screws were loose, they wouldn't actually go into the flange connector, so I must have had a faulty one. So I've just smeared it with silicone all the way around it, and hopefully I will get a good seal. Another one there, another one here, and one there, and one here. So this is the overflow here. This is where I'm going to run my pump through for the filter box. This is a return, another return, and obviously one there that will actually feed into the skimmet itself, and then it'll come out of there and then run into that return and that return. So I've got to wait for the silicone to go off, as well as the primer that I've been priming the liner. So I just wanted to show you what I've done. So I'm losing light now, so I think that we'll call it a day, and then obviously we'll get on with getting this pond filled up, and I'll show you the filter box on how I set that up and what I'll put in it to filter this pond. So again guys, remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video, I would really appreciate it. And if you're finding you're being unsubscribed to the channel for some bizarre reason, please let me know in the comments and resubscribe, because YouTube are doing some funny things recently. So I've still got the skimmer to sort out, and we'll get that put in another day, and I'll show you that. So I'll sign off today and say thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice weekend, or have had a nice weekend.